Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, this is to coin a phrase from older people, probably y'all grandmamas and granddaddies and stuff. This tickled me. This was a couple of days ago. Devin Haney, lightweight champion WBC style, is on the verge of superstardom. This is what his promoter Eddie Hearn has said about a couple of days ago. He's on the verge of superstardom, right? And it's funny to me because for me, because I don't really care what anybody in the media is saying. You just watch the landscape. Devin Haney is a superstar already. Devin Haney is an all-time great already, right? And I can be all-time great with 22. Listen, in that lightweight division, we're talking about how good all of these guys are, the four kings and all the the good stuff that's going on in the lightweight division. And every single significant fighter in the lightweight division is running officially not wanting to fight Devin Haney. That's enough for me, right? Now, if the media is going to ignore it and act like they didn't see it, that's their thing. I don't really care about that. I'm old enough to understand why they're doing that, right? It is what it is, especially in America. Devin Haney is a superstar right now. I don't think it's pretty much, I'm not going to say unprecedented because I'm going to talk about a couple of other stuff that's going on in the middleweight division as well. But right now, Devin Haney, and I'm going to just say it. Listen, Lomachenko, who was the #1 pound for pound. A lot of people talking about what they didn't see this before. His movement and all this thing about Lomachenko being the very best. Well, Lomachenko was supposed to fight Devin Haney when he was his mandatory and goes and asks for some kind of new belt that's not even a belt, they say, for franchise title. Most of you know that already. But that was Lomachenko. Why wouldn't he just fight Devin Haney when he's his mandatory? And then he was supposed to go into the Teofimo Lopez fight. But Lomachenko, that's what's up. Now, let me say something else about Lomachenko. After he lost to Teofimo Lopez, right, and Teofimo Lopez didn't want to give him a rematch, Devin Haney was still begging Lomachenko Nomachenko is what Devin Haney calls him. Nomachenko. Nomaschenko. That's what he said. Nomachenko. He's been calling him that for the last 2 years, and he still won't fight him. So anyway, Nomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez doesn't want to fight him. There's the WBC champion, the real one, the Devin Haney, still begging, and he could have fought Devin Haney, and then he would have had that belt to force Teofimo Lopez into an undisputed fight. Didn't want to do it. Talking about everybody else, Nakatani, he about to fight, I forget who he about to fight now. Richard Comey, who lost to Teofimo Lopez, right? Still a good fighter, but we ain't talking about the still a good fights. If you want to be the most significant guy, all you have to do is beat Devin Haney. He didn't do it. And this is Lomachenko, one of the all-time greats is what people would say. But he's not going to fight this 22-year-old or 21 at the time. Imagine. Okay? That's one guy. Teofimo Lopez right now is, in some eyes, undisputed. Teofimo Lopez had the nerve to walk to Canelo's fight, trying to show all the belts as if he's undisputed, and knows he's not. He's got the franchise title, which we don't know what the hell it is. Some new stuff to avoid black fighters. That's what that is. I don't care if you don't like it, but prove me wrong. It's to avoid the black mandatories, right? Devin Haney and Charlo. We all know that. So, if they're going to do it blatantly, then we're going to say it blatantly. We're not going to go around it. Why would we? Avoiding Devin Haney. So he understands he's not undisputed, but he goes and shows the belts like he's undisputed, which is very embarrassing. It should, but for him to feel comfortable about it shows you the state of boxing. That should be very uncomfortable to do that when you know you're not and you're running around parading it in front of boxers, in front of media. That would be embarrassing because there should be a whole bunch of people, hey man, you're not undisputed until you fight Devin Haney, like his contemporaries are telling him. He doesn't want to avoid Devin Haney and wants to go up to 140 to fight someone who is really undisputed, in Josh Taylor, really undisputed, right? He'd rather fight that real undisputed guy who's heavier than go down there and secure his undisputed fight. But Josh Taylor's not having it. Josh Taylor tells him, you got to fight Devin Haney before you can call yourself the same thing that I am, Josh Taylor, or what Canelo is, and Canelo isn't either. He has to fight Devin Benavidez, but at least Terrence Crawford was, and then the other, Alexander Usyk is, and Bernard Hopkins and Jermaine Taylor and the likes. Those are real undisputeds where there's no dispute, right? But he's not trying to do that. He's not trying to fight Devin Haney. And Teofimo Lopez is a damn good fighter. Those are great fighters, just Lopez and Lomachenko. But here's some unprecedented stuff. No, not really, because we got the middleweight division as well. But here, and we had the 154-pound division as well, but that's a whole different video. Anyway, his mandatory and Ryan Garcia, very, very good fighter, quick, has all the Instagram people and all that, all those, you know, subscribers on Instagram and people following him and this and that, and he's supposed to be the future, right? He was his mandatory and was trying to fight everybody except, you know, the champion and Devin Haney. He just avoided him blatantly. And you guys would say duck, right? That's what he did. Imagine that. And then Jojo Diaz steps in when Ryan Garcia goes into depression and goes and fights Javier Fortuna. Jojo Diaz beats Javier Fortuna, which is a good win. Then he becomes the mandatory. And he doesn't want to fight Devin Haney either. Those are 4 great fighters who don't want to fight him, right? Now Jojo Diaz is forced to fight him because Jojo Diaz wanted to fight Ryan Garcia. Imagine, instead of the championship belt, you want to go fight somebody else. Imagine that. Both mandatories would rather fight each other than either one of them going to fight the belt. You gonna tell me that's not all-time great stuff? That's all-time. I just told you, Ryan Garcia, Jojo Diaz, and Lomachenko, and Teofimo Lopez. That's all-time great to me. I ain't gonna ignore that, and neither should you. Look at it for what it is. That's all-time great stuff. You can't come up with something that's going on back then unless it's to go back to Murderer's Row where they didn't have to fight no brothers. But other than that, this is ridiculous, right? But this is what's going on. So, all-time great in my eyes, Lomachenko. Your boy Devin Haney. Lomachenko should have been screaming to fight Devin Haney back then, but he didn't. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. You know, he's going to be superstar on the verge of superstardom. They will do everything possible to not let that happen. When he fought Jorge Linares, who stepped up to fight him and is powerful and a good fighter, we know that but all they talked about was what? He got clocked at the end of a round, right? You know, that's kind of Floyd Mayweather stuff. You know, just talk about when he got clocked. He won the whole fight. What did he lose? 2 rounds against Linares? And ask Lomachenko how hard it is against Linares. Wasn't Lomachenko on the ground? Definitely a time. I don't know how many times. I think he was on the ground twice, but I'm just going to say it once. Lomachenko was the very best fighter, you know, pound for pound number 1. He was on the ground against Linares. So I can get clocked against Linares, stand up, hold a little bit until I get my stuff together and beat him 10 rounds to 2. Right? But that's how, when you start getting great, that's what they start picking stuff. Hey. You know when somebody's really fine, a girl you really see is fine as hell, but she don't want to give you nothing. She don't like you. Then you start hating the fine stuff, you know, just little things. That's what this is. Just hate because you can't find nothing. All of those fighters that won't fight him are very good fighters, if not great. And they don't want to fight him. What does that make him? A superstar, an all-time great. It's really that simple. If you don't think so, you might want to check what's wrong with you. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.